The Oscar category that tends to receive the least amount of attention is Best Live Action Short. Even though the nominated films don't have the same blockbuster status and critical attention as the feature nominees, it's still an important category and can serve as a stepping stone for filmmakers. And after all, movies did begin as short subjects before expanding to longer length. It also used to be common to get a whole bill of programs when you went to see a movie, including a newsreel, cartoon, and a live-action short. So, for the 5th Academy Awards, held in 1932, new categories were introduced to honor short films. One was for animated shorts, while others awarded live-action shorts. There were originally 2 categories for Best Comedy Short Subject and Best Novelty Short Subject, the latter of which could go to any type of film, from educational to drama. The first comedy short winner was the Laurel and Hardy classic The Music Box, depicting their misfortunes attempting to take piano up a flight of stairs. Meanwhile, the first novelty short winner was the Max Sennett-produced Wrestling Swordfish. Among the notable nominees in these first few years were Men in Black, the only Three Stooges film to ever receive an Oscar nomination, and the humorous informative shorts produced by Pete Smith for MGM. One of those was Audioscopics, a short released in 3D. For the Academy Awards in 1937, they were split into 3 new categories, honoring color, one-reel, and two-reel short subjects, the latter 2 referring to shorts running under and over 11 minutes. The color category was then removed 2 years later. Among the shorts that tended to do well in these categories were comedy shorts, including Board of Education and entering the popular Our Gang series, and historical dramas like Declaration of Independence and Sons of Liberty. These films were often produced by the short film departments at major studios like Warner Brothers, MGM, and RKO. Documentaries also won plenty of Oscars here, and even though documentary shorts eventually got their own category in 1942, they remained eligible for Best Live Action Short. All of Walt Disney's live-action short wins were even for his true-life adventure nature films, and in 1 year he took home the Oscars for both Best Two-Reel Short Subject and Best Documentary Short. Other notable winners included MGM musical director Johnny Green for his concert film Overture to the Merry Wives of Windsor, and famed oceanographer Jacques-Yves Cousteau for The Golden Fish, a short he produced about a boy and a fish. In 1957, the short film categories were eventually combined into a single category, and as the major studios began scaling back their short film departments, this gave an opportunity to aspiring independent filmmakers to win an Oscar for their shorts, along with those from around the world. One of those winning shorts, An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, was later picked up by the producers of The Twilight Zone and aired as an episode of the show. The National Film Board of Canada produced several shorts that earned nominations in this category, and then there are the names you might be surprised received recognition for live-action shorts. Peter Sellers earned his first Oscar nomination for the Running, Jumping, and Standing Still film, a short he directed with Richard Lester. Jim Henson's only Oscar nomination was for the short Timepiece, which nobly does not feature any Muppets. And John Astin, who most will know from his role as Gomez Addams on the Addams Family television series, was nominated for a short film he directed titled Prelude. After Sentinels of Silence, a film about Mayan architecture, won both the live-action short and documentary short categories, the Academy decided that only narrative films would be eligible for this category, although it took them a few more years to implement this rule. Several eclectic shorts will continue to be nominated and win in this category. The Resurrection of Bronco Billy, a western made by USC film students, including John Carpenter, was picked up by Universal Pictures and won the Oscar. Taylor Hackford, who would later go on to direct An Officer and a Gentleman and Ray, got his big break when his short Teenage Father took home the Oscar. Saul Bass, the frequent title designer for Alfred Hitchcock, received a few live-action short film nominations, and Steve Martin wrote and starred in the nominated short film The Absent-Minded Waiter. A rather interesting short film winner was Precious Images. This was a montage of film clips directed by Chuck Workman, commissioned by the Directors Guild of America to celebrate the history of the art form. Precious Images was even shown at the Oscars and in several places afterwards, and while it's surprising it was eligible for this category, it's easy to see why Academy voters chose to honor it. Did you know Stephen Wright has an Oscar? He took one home for his short film The Appointments of Dennis Jennings, alongside Dean Parisot, who would later direct Galaxy Quest. Wright is not the only actor who received his sole Oscar nomination for directing or producing a short film. Others have included Sean Astin, Peter Weller, Griffin Dunne, Peter Riegert, JoBeth Williams, William Zabka, and Jeff Goldblum. Christine Latty won for her short Lieberman in Love, and Peter Capaldi, who would later play the 12th Doctor on Doctor Who, won for Franz Kafka's It's a Wonderful Life. Meanwhile, Kenneth Branagh received an Oscar nomination in this category for his Anton Chekhov adaptation, Swan Song. Most people focus on the narrative of the features, but the winning shorts can have their own fascinating journeys. David Frankel directed a pilot for ABC for a television show titled Dear Diary, starring Bebe Neuwirth. The show was not picked up, and so Frankel and DreamWorks Television decided to release it as a short film, and it ended up winning. An Oscar-winning short that would have quite the impact is Trevor. Centered on a teenager dealing with his sexuality, following its Oscar victory, the filmmakers decide to start the Trevor Project, a nonprofit organization that provides a helpline for LGBTQ youth suffering from suicidal thoughts. As the category has continued on, it has remained a place to honor up-and-coming filmmakers. Lexi Alexander was nominated for a boxing film, Johnny Clinton, and Taika Waititi earned his first nomination for the short Two Cars, One Night. Playwright Myrna Madanag won an Oscar for his short Six Shooter, which then paved the way for his later feature films like In Bruges and Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And noted independent director Andrew Arnold also won earlier in film career for the short Wasp. You may not necessarily recognize all the names nominated in the short film category, but that director could very well become the next Myrna Madanag or Taika Waititi, or go on to a thriving career in television and other ventures. For many years, the live-action shorts were often the least accessible of the nominated films. Moviegoers might be lucky to catch them in front of a feature at a film festival, a television airing, or maybe a video release. However, they just did not seem to get wide distribution. However, with the rise of streaming services and other online video platforms, the filmmakers now have an easier time getting their work out there, often self-distributing the shorts themselves. They would usually be posted on YouTube or Vimeo either for free or with a small rental fee. A company called Shorts TV has also been releasing the shorts every year in select theaters. Companies like Netflix and The New Yorker have also been picking up shorts and making them widely available. Last year, Le Pupille, an Italian short released by Disney Plus, was even nominated in the category. While I doubt the short films are a major reason why people subscribe to Netflix or Disney Plus, it's great to see these streaming services continue to distribute and bankroll these shorts. There have been suggestions over the years to move the short film categories up the main telecast and have them given out on a different night. But anytime this idea has been floated within the Academy, there's immediate and understandable resistance from the Board of Governors and other members. Legendary voice actress June Foray was one such person who always voted against removing the short films from the ceremony. Shorts play such an important role in a director or producer or writer's career, whether they're just starting out or already established. This year's nominated filmmakers include Wes Anderson, already an Oscar nominee in multiple categories for his feature films, Nissan Harriman, a photographer making his directing debut, Nazreen Chaudhuri, a longtime television writer, Vincent René Lotti, a recent film school graduate from Quebec, and Lhasa Lixianoa, also a recent film school graduate. All of them had stories they wanted to tell, whether original or adapting a previously written work, and felt the short film format was the best way to do that. It's great that this category still exists to honor this type of storytelling and filmmaking and to give further attention to these short films that may not receive the same publicity as the big studio releases, but are nonetheless vital to the cinematic landscape. See you next time.